So file system hierarchy standard. In the last session, we discussed about what are the features we have in Linux. So what are the advantages we have in Linux? So first is open source code we get along with the operating system. Operating system is free to everyone. Okay. So operating system is free. So means license key, there is no license key. Directly we can install and we can use it. That is one thing. Okay. And multiple users can log in and they can perform multiple tasks. And in any hardware architecture, we can install Linux operating system. It works with any hardware environment. And least hardware if you have also, you can install Linux. That is also advantage. And we can trust Linux because no downtime, 24/7 without downtime, without restarting the computer, you can use Linux. That is also advantage. And there we have only single operating system. There is no separate operating system like server client. Okay, one operating system only we use in normal desktop PC to supercomputer. That is also advantage. Means what operating system we are using regularly in our laptops, personal laptops, the same we use in real time also. So we don't get any confusion. And it is very secure because inbuilt IP tables and SC Linux is there. IP tables are used to secure networking files. SC Linux is used to secure local files. IP table is nothing but firewalls. And it works with command line interface. So those who know commands, they only can configure Linux machine. So it is secure. Without knowing commands, others cannot access your data. So your data is secured here. And it doesn't support exe files. Many PCs are infecting with virus because of exe files, but Linux doesn't support exe files. That is one thing. And we can encrypt a file by assigning password. In Linux, we can encrypt a file by assigning password. And next is, there is no setup file. Everything we need to configure manually as configuration file. That is also advantage. And for every user, password authentication is compulsory. Without password, we cannot log in into any user account. So that is also advantage only. And in Linux, it is very fast. Comparing to Windows, Linux is fast performance-wise because it works with command line interface. So black screen with white fonts. It doesn't use more graphics. That is one advantage. And in Linux, there is a concept called swap. Hello, audible am I?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Done. In Linux, there is swap memory, which is used to increase the speed of RAM. Swap memory is used to increase the speed of RAM. So that also will show you. So this all, whatever I told you now as features of Linux that we discussed in the last session, right? And these all points I will show you practically also in our further classes. Every point I will show you practically. So now that is our last session. I just gave overview fastly, and today's topic is file system hierarchy standard. And Nitin and Dhananjay, you attended last class, right? That points are clear now. So now, once we install Windows operating system, A and B are reserved for floppy. In Windows, A and B are reserved for floppy. Okay, so it starts creating drives from C. Now, after installing the operating system in Windows, if you double click on C drive, there you can see default folders like System32, administrator, user, downloads, library. You can see default folders. Similarly, in Linux also, Once we install operating system, we get default directories. What are the default directories are there in Linux? That we'll discuss now. Even in Windows also, as an administrator, what are the folders are there by default? Which folder we get along with the operating system? You should know that in Windows. Same like that in Linux also. What are the default directories? Here, directory means folder. In Windows, we call folder. In Linux, we call directory. Only name is different. So once we install Linux operating system, what are the default directories we get along with the operating system? That we'll discuss. Okay. Cyrus, Linux, it works with graphical user interface also. I will show you Linux with CLI and GUI. Both I will show you. Generally, as a employee, if you are working with Linux operating system, means most of the employees will log in as in graphical user interface and they will work. But it means cloud engineers, we work with command line interface only. Okay, but both you can use. Commands are same, no different. That I will show you practically also. And floppy, now we have hard disk, right? In olden days, there is no, like, we used to use like CDs, you may know. CD, DVD, you know, DVD. Cyrus, do you know DVD? Yeah. So before that, zip drives, tape drives, floppies are there. After that, CD came, then DVD. At present, we are not using DVD also. External hard disk, pen drives we are using. So initially, we used to get zip drives, tape drives, floppies. Very small in size. Okay. So they also use it for storage only, but very less capacity. In KBs, MBs, they used to store the data. Cyrus, you're getting that. So now we'll discuss about file system hierarchy. Means what are the default directories we get along with the operating system. So that we'll discuss now. Directory means folder. Remember, directory means folder. Entire Linux class, I use word directory only. I don't use folder. Okay, it is nothing but directory. Folder is nothing but directory. So these are the default directories we get in Linux. Durga, are you getting
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, I understand.
that? Any point, if you are not clear, not only for today's class, I'm telling, any point, if you are not clear, you can ask me there itself. You can ask me, you can talk to me, or you can message me on the chat box. As I told you, we also have the Telegram group only for our batch. We'll create a group. So there also you can send the data. I mean, you can message me if there is any doubt. One more. Excuse me, sorry. So first is forward slash. Forward slash is a parent directory. Concentrate. The first directory is forward slash. It is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. Forward slash is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. It is similar to C in Windows. Forward slash is similar to C drive in Windows. Okay, in Windows, C drive is compulsory partition, right? Same like that here, forward slash. If you open C drive in Windows, you can see folders, default folders you can see, right? Same like that in Linux also. If you open this forward slash means you can see default directories. So the first subdirectory under forward slash is root. I'm repeating again, forward slash, it is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. It is similar to C drive in Windows. Forward slash is similar to C drive in Windows. Under forward slash, we have these subdirectories. So the first subdirectory under forward slash is root. Root is a parent, root is the home directory for super user. Root is a home directory for super user. Super user means administrator. As a super user, if you log in into your computer and if you create any files or directories, the data is going to store under root. I'm repeating. So the first directory under forward slash is root. Root is the home directory for super user. Super user means administrator. In Windows, we call administrator account. Here we call super user account. So root is the home directory for super user. As a super user, you logged in into computer and if you create any files or directories, that data is going to store under root. Is this clear? Root directory is clear? Root is clear? And next one is home. Home is the home directory for normal user. Home is the home directory for normal user. As a normal user, you logged in into computer and if you create any files or directories, that data is going to store under home. Now, you create a normal user account Tom. Tom user logged in and Tom is creating any files or directory, the data is going to store under home. Okay, now you created a user Jerry. If Jerry user logged in and Jerry is creating any files or directories, that data is going to store under home. And here, one more point I want to tell you. In coming classes also I will explain and I will show you practically. That is, once a user is created, immediately it creates a directory, means folder. It creates a directory with same username. It creates a directory also. Okay. So where it creates the directory means under home. Say for example, now you created a user Tom. Immediately under home, it creates a directory with the name Tom. Now you created a user Jerry. Immediately it creates a directory with the name Jerry, where it creates under home. It means now in home we have Tom directory, Jerry directory. So if Tom user logged in and Tom is creating any files or data, the data is going to store under Tom's directory, which is under home. If Jerry user logged in and Jerry is creating any files or directories, the data is going to store under Jerry's directory, which is under home. So home is the home directory for normal user. Root means only super user can access root, root directory. Super user have full privileges. They are like administrator. In Windows, we call administrator. Here we call super user. Cyrus, you're clear that point? That is only your doubt, right? Then, so forward slash, it is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. It is similar to C drive in Windows. So these all directories are under forward slash. Root is the home directory for super user. As a super user, you logged in into computer and if you create any files or directories, the data is going to store under root. And Home is the home directory for normal user. As a normal user, you logged in into computer, and if you create any files or directories, that data is going to store under home. Boot contains bootable files. Operating system, bootable files are stored under boot. Boot boot contains bootable files. Operating system, bootable files are stored under boot. Also, kernel. There is a small software in Linux that is kernel. Kernel is an interface between shell and hardware. See, generally, if you are giving any data, if you're giving any input to your computer, it may be Windows or Linux. If you're giving any input to your computer, means A plus B, 2 plus 2, 1 plus 1, whatever it is, you're giving any input to your computer means first shell receives the data. Shell receives the data. And what shell do? It converts the data into zeros and ones. It converts original data into zeros and ones because system can understand only binary language. Binary language is the standard format for computers. So, whatever data you are sending, it converts into shell, converts into zeros and ones, and it transfers the data to hardware environment. That is in Windows. So, something data. Pen drive is connected. That pen drive is infected with virus. Pen drive is infected with virus. Okay, then what this shell do? It converts into zeros and ones. It converts into zeros and ones, and it transfers the data to hardware environment because shell work is only converting the original data into binary format, zeros and ones. It means standard format. It doesn't check whatever data you are giving. It converts into zeros and ones and it transfers to hardware environment. That is in Windows. So many PCs are infecting with virus because of this only in Windows. But coming to Linux, when user generated any data, shell receives the data, it converts into zeros and ones, then there is kernel. Now what kernel do is, before transferring the data to hardware environment, it will check the data, whether the data is supported by hardware environment or not. Okay, if there is any exe files, it rejects back. If something data is coming with virus, it rejects back. If any application is coming which is not supported by our hardware environment, it rejects back. Okay, so if everything is fine, which is supported by your hardware environment, that data only coming means then it transfers the data to hardware. Okay, so in Linux, there is kernel, which makes your Linux operating system very secure. Okay, so that kernel also up to RHEL 6 version, Linux version 6, kernel also stored under boot. Boot contains bootable files, operating system support files, and kernel up to version 6. And next one is sbin. Sbin contains super user commands, the commands which can be executed by super user. Commands which can be executed by administrator, that commands are stored under sbin. Bin contains normal user commands, the commands which can be executed by normal user, that commands are stored under bin. It means as a normal user, you logged in into computer and you executed any command means first it will check in bin directory whether the command is there or not. If the command is there here, it will give output. Otherwise, it will not give you output. I'm repeating. Boot contains bootable files and kernel up to version 6. Sbin contains super user commands, the commands which can be executed by super user. Bin contains normal user commands, the commands which can be executed by normal users. Is this clear up to bin directory? Up to bin directories are clear?
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. It is clear.
Yes, Durga, you're clear or you have any doubt?
No, ma'am. It is clear for me.
Clear, right?
Yeah.
Cyrus, your voice is not audible. Like a disturbance is coming. Like what? You can message me. I will read and tell. Yeah, clear. Thank you. Cyrus, you can message me. I will read and explain. Yeah, boot contains bootable files. Operating system bootable files are stored under boot. Also kernel. Kernel is an interface between shell and hardware. Okay, that kernel also stored under boot up to Linux version 6. Is that clear? Done. Next is USR. USR contains default applications which comes along with operating system. That applications are stored under USR. Like in Windows, when you install Windows operating system, Windows Media Player comes along with the operating system, right? Like that, some applications comes along with the operating system. So in Linux also, some applications comes along with the operating system. That applications are stored under USR. USR contains default applications which comes along with operating system. That applications are stored under USR. Var contains variable files, means log files. System log files are stored under var. Simple. In Windows Task Manager, you know, right? If you open Task Manager, you can see how many users are logged in, what applications you are running, what is memory size you use, used memory size, everything it will show, right? Same like that here also. Var contains variable files, means system log files are stored under var. And next one is dev. Dev contains devices information. Devices means partitions information. In Windows, we call partitions like C drive, D drive, E drive, we call it. Here we call devices. Dev contains devices information, means partitions information is stored under dev. If you open your My Computer, you can see how many partitions are there and the information about that, right? Same like that in dev, it contains devices information. Device means partition. And next one is etc. etc contains configuration file. System configuration files are stored under etc. As we discussed, Linux works with configuration file, right? That configuration files are stored under etc. Next one is OPT. OPT contains optional applications which we install manually. That applications are stored under OPT. OPT contains optional applications which we install manually. That applications are stored under OPT. Is this clear? I'm repeating. USR contains default applications which comes along with operating system. Var contains variable files. System log files are stored under var. Dev contains devices information. Devices means partitions information. etc contains configuration file. System configuration files are stored under etc. opt contains optional applications. Applications which we install manually. They are not compulsory to install. If we want, we install them manually. That type of applications are stored under opt. The next one is media. Media contains external devices information. Media contains external devices information like external hard disk, external DVD writers, pen drives, removable devices information. OPT contains, media contains external devices information. Removable devices information is stored under media up to version 6, Linux version 6. Removable devices information is maintained by media. Is that clear? Nitin, clear?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Nitin, your voice is not audible. Sairaj, clear up to media? Done. Dhananjay?
Yes, ma'am.
Done. And these are important. If you want to be in Linux side means all these directories are very, very important. In classes, in our coming classes, every directory we use. So at the time you'll understand more clearly. So next MNT. MNT contains partitions and their mounted directories information. MNT contains partitions and their mounted directories information. Like in Windows, once we create partition and format the partition, if you double click on the partition, we can enter into the partition when we can access. That is in Windows. But in Linux, it is not like that. In Linux, once a partition is created, we cannot access it manually. We cannot access the partitions directly. Then how we access the partition means we create a directory. We create a directory again and we'll give link between partition and directory. That is called mounting. Mounting means giving a link between partition and directory. By using commands, we do that. And we access the partition through this directory. We access partition through directory. Whatever data we create in the directory, the data it stores in partition. To access partition, we use this directory. That I will show you practically, then only you will understand. You will not at all understand now. Just remember, MNT contains partition and their mounted directories information. It means which partition is linked with which directory. That information is maintained by MNT. Okay, and next one is run. Run contains external devices information. External hard disk, DVD writer, pen drive means removable devices information is maintained by run. Also kernel. Kernel also stored under run from version 7 onwards. Up to Linux version 6, boot contains kernel and media contains external devices information, right? From version 7, run contains external devices information and kernel. So these are the default directories we get along with the operating system in Linux. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Durga, I think you left and you rejoined.
Yeah, it shows, but your like visual audio will be, like my internet was slow, but
No
I can
problem.
hear and I will.
You'll get the recording video also. You can go through if you miss anything. And I will share these notes also. Every point I will share notes. I'll just repeat overview. Once I will repeat everything from starting. / it is a parent directory or top level directory in Linux. Okay, it is similar to C drive in Windows. It contains subdirectories. These all directories are under / directory means folder. Root is the home directory for super user. As a super user, you logged in into computer, and if you create any files or directories, the data is going to store under root. Home is the home directory for normal user. As a normal user, you logged in and you created any files or directories, the data is going to store under home. Boot contains bootable files and kernel. Up to version 6. Sbin contains super user commands, the commands which can be executed by super user. That commands are stored under sbin. Bin contains normal user commands, the commands which can be executed by normal user. That commands are stored under bin. USR contains default applications, applications which comes along with operating system. That applications are stored under USR. Var contains variable files. System log files are stored under var. Dev contains devices information. Devices means partitions information is stored under dev. etc contains configuration files. System configuration files are stored under etc. OPT contains optional applications. Applications which we install manually. They are not compulsory to install, but if we install anything manually, which we require, third-party tools like Oracle, SQL, something you want to install. So that applications are stored under OPT. Media contains external devices information. Means removable devices information. External hard disk, DVD writers, pen drives, this information is stored under media. Up to version 6. MNT contains partitions and their mounted directories information. Which partition is linked with which directory? That information is maintained by MNT. Run contains external devices information and kernel information from version 7. So these are the default directories we have. Is this clear? Your question is Cyrus run stores external devices information and media, but up to version 6 only, media contains external devices information. From version 7 onwards, run contains external devices information. That is the difference. Is this clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the default directories we have. And about these directories in further classes, we'll see practically also. And notes I will share through Telegram. Once you register with this course, you'll get the Telegram link. There you'll get the notes. Okay. So this is about today's session. Thank you so much for the session. In tomorrow's class, I will show you what are the recommended partitions to install the operating system. that I will show you. If time permits, I will also show how to install operating system in tomorrow's session. Thank you so much. Any doubts you can ask me. Remember, doubts you can ask me. Any doubt in middle of the class, you can stop me, you can ask, you can message me. I'll read your doubts definitely and I'll respond. If not, you have Telegram also. There also you can contact me. Okay. And even when you are doing practicals, at the time also, if you have any doubts, you can ask me on Telegram also whenever you're doing practicals. Thank you so much for this session. We'll meet tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, Durga?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow. Have a good sleep. I'm closing the session.